Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing secrets to make your ex chase you. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing secrets to make your ex chase you. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you need your ex to desire you. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 secrets to make your ex chase you. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is be unpredictable. Now when I say be unpredictable, I'm not talking about behaving in a way where your ex will believe you have an unstable mindset, maybe you're behaving in a somewhat scary way. I'm not speaking about living your life in that kind of way. This is not the type of unpredictability that you need to be showcasing. If you behave in a way which is somewhat scary, which showcases an unstable mindset, your ex is likely to contact your friends and family, if not even the authorities, if they're really worried about you. So, you've got to use your common sense. When I say behave in an unpredictable way, this is in fact connected to the fact that your ex-bedumper is going to believe that they know every single thing about you. They know exactly how you work, what you do, and what you're about. And you need to showcase yourself in a way which doesn't fall into those categories, as long as it's positive. That's the key, like I've just said. Not scary, not an unstable mindset. It's got to be positive. Now, if you can behave in an unpredictable way, which is positive, this is one of the secrets to make your ex chase you. Because your ex-bedumper, like I said, already has a feeling and a theory of who you are as a person, what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be behaving. If they see that you're living your life in a different kind of way, which is positive, it is going to intrigue them. So let's just give an example. Let's just say that you are a stickler for routine and you always do the same thing on a Thursday, for instance. And let's just say, instead of doing what you normally do on a Thursday, you decide to join a new class, group or club. Maybe you're learning how to play musical instruments. Maybe you're learning new fitness techniques. Whatever it may be, you decide to do something different on this given Thursday, okay? And then after you go to this new class, group or club, let's just say you promote this on social media by speaking about the new things that you're doing and learning. Now, maybe you and your ex are connected on social media, maybe you're not, but the likelihood is that something such as this will eventually get back to your ex via friends of friends if they're not to see it themselves, or maybe just word of mouth. So from this example, your ex finds out that you've done something very different to what you normally do on a Thursday. They know you as somebody who is a stickler for routine. They know you always do this certain thing, and instead of doing that, you've actually gone to a new class, group or club, and you're learning how to play a musical instrument, for instance. That unpredictability is going to intrigue your ex. You've got to realise that the person that they dumped, unfortunately, is no longer a good fit for your now dumper. So you've got to understand that the person that you were at the time of a breakup, if you want to try to get your ex back, you need to make some alterations. But these alterations have got to come from you, and they've got to be things you want to do. You can't be just doing things for your ex, because you can only act for so long. You need to be doing this for you. It's got to be you, your true, authentic self. So although you've got to change because you want to, in a positive way, which is also known as growth. You've got to grow as a person. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't want to do something new. I love my routine, and that's absolutely fine. But you need to understand that you probably won't get your ex back if you stay exactly the same as the person that was dumped. You've got to recognise but it's perfectly fine for you to do what you want to do, but you've got to respect your ex's decision that they didn't feel you were a good fit anymore. So what I would suggest is if you want them back, you've got to consider what you would like to do, something which you genuinely want to do for you, go through positive growth, make these changes, and then see if you can try and increase that chance of getting your ex back. And trust me, if you do these types of things, you will be increasing that chance of success. No, it can't be guaranteed. No, we can't say for certain. But what we can say is that you stand a better chance of getting your ex back if you are a more improved person, if you're a different person, if you're unpredictable. So this is what point number 1 is about. You need to be living your life in a way that your ex can't predict, but in a positive way. So no, don't do things that make your ex worried for you. Don't make your ex worry that you have an unstable mindset. But yes, you need to be doing things they don't predict. Whether it's learning how to play a new musical instrument, whether it's joining a new fitness class, whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's attending a new class where you learn and begin to understand a new hobby better, for instance. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as your ex doesn't expect it. Imagine what your ex expects of you and change it up. This is what I'm saying. This is one of the secrets to make your ex chase you, because if they feel like they no longer understand your next move, they're going to be more intrigued, and this can likely be a great opening for them to message you. You need your ex-badumper to text you, call you, or bump into you and have a conversation. Likely it will be a text. And what do you want them to send? Well, ultimately it doesn't matter as long as they send it. And they need an opening. And if they have not realised that you're doing these new things, and when they find out, that gives them an opening. They can send you a message, hey, I've just seen you learning how to play this new musical instrument. How long have you been doing that? There is their opening. They're very unlikely to text you and say, hey, I really, really miss you. That is not likely. So if you behave in a positive, unpredictable way, you're more likely to intrigue your ex, which is more likely to make them want to chase you and ultimately reach out to you. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast, about secrets to make your ex chase you. And point number 2 is date someone they deem more attractive. So when I talk to dumpees and I suggest one of the best ways to get your ex back is to date somebody new, a lot of them will sound somewhat confused. But trust me on this, one of the best ways to get your ex to chase you is to date someone that they deem more attractive than themselves. So however you feel about your ex, you need to be thinking about what your ex thinks about themselves. So you might think that your ex is the most attractive person in the world ever, okay? Right now as a dumpee, you likely have them on a pedestal, you likely think nobody could be better. But the reality is, your ex-badumper is a regular human being, and they are likely to have insecurities that you probably know about. So let's just say, for instance, that you know that your ex doesn't really like how tall they are, okay? Maybe you're absolutely fine with it. You think they look fantastic, but you know they've got some insecurities about how tall they are, okay? If you were to go on dates with somebody taller than your ex, although in your mind they might not be more attractive than your ex, although in your mind you might not be thinking much about this new person, you have to understand that if your ex was to find out about this, then they would likely start to feel somewhat jealous. And this is what you need to be trying to develop in your ex's mind. Now, I'm not talking about unhealthy jealousy. I'm just talking about those twinges of feelings that people have when they think, whoa, have I made the right choice here? I dumped somebody, and yet they're now dating somebody who I think is more attractive than me. I'm very conscious about my height, and I've now found out my ex is dating somebody taller. These are the type of subtle things which you might be surprised can really make your ex more intrigued and start to develop a level of jealousy in which they want to reach out to you. Now, of course, there's no guarantee within anything in life. I can't say for certain that your ex will reach out to you, whatever you do or whatever you don't do. But what I can say is what I've known from my clients over many years, but using this technique can certainly be a way of increasing that chance of getting your ex to chase you. Because if they believe you're dating somebody better than them, whether or not you believe it or not. This is where that jealousy can make them reach out to you. Now, how would your ex find out that you're dating somebody new? Now, I don't suggest you post photos of you and your new date on social media, not unless you've been dating for many months. In all reality, you can't be doing that on a first date, for instance, but just letting that out into the world, telling your friends and family you're going on a date, let people know who you're dating. That type of way, you'll be surprised how many dumpers find out who you're dating. You might be thinking there's no way they could find out, but trust me, if you tell your friends and family who you're dating, if this person is within the same town, for instance, where you live, your ex-dumper might even know who they are already. It's going to be different for different people, but you've got to understand that dumpers have an uncanny ability to seemingly find out information about their dumpee. So don't worry too much about how you'll get this across. The reality is they will somehow likely find out. Now, another question dumpees might ask me, for instance, is, well, is it ethical to date somebody I'm not really interested in just to try and make my ex-dumper jealous? And what I would say is it depends on how you're going about your dating. And what I mean by this, let's just say you meet somebody online dating and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really want to be in a relationship with this person, but I might try and go on a date or two, see if it gets back to my ex, see if it makes them intrigued and want to chase me. Okay, so how do I go about this? My suggestion would be that you tell this new person that you're not long out of a breakup, you're not really sure what you're looking for, and you want to just take things at a steady pace, okay? If you say something like that in your own words, you're putting the ball in their court. It's their decision. It's their choice. You told them you're not long out of a breakup. You've told them you're not sure what you're looking for. You told them you're not looking to rush. So what this showcases is you're telling them that you don't know where this is going. Now, if this new person doesn't like the sound of this, then they can say no, thanks but no thanks, I'm not looking for somebody in your position. But alternatively, they might be fine with it. In fact, they might be in a similar position to you. So it might work out perfectly. So I think it's ethical as long as you tell the new person you don't know what you're looking for and you want to take things slow. At that point, if they still want to meet you, that's absolutely fine for both of you to go on a date or two. And who knows? You might even like each other more to continue this. Stranger things have happened. Now, if you want advice and support on how to try and increase the chance of getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website, www.dateme.tips, for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. So now let's get into point number 3 and my final point of today's podcast about secrets to make your ex chase you. And point number 3 is achieve what they said you couldn't. So although point number 1 could have some level of connection to point number 3, there are big differences. So point number 1, I was speaking about be unpredictable. Do things your ex wouldn't predict or expect in a positive way. Point number 3 is more about doing and achieving things that your ex believes that you can't. So there is a subtle difference. Point number 1 is be unpredictable. Do something your ex just could never imagine in a million years. Point number 3 is doing something that your ex actually wants you to achieve, but just believes you can't do it. So maybe you're even dumped for a certain reason based on this. Whatever it may be, maybe your ex-dumper didn't like certain things that you didn't achieve. Maybe they felt you were not moving your life forward. Maybe they felt you were stagnated. Maybe they felt you were unmotivated. Whatever it may be, there could be instances where your ex-dumper didn't like certain things that you hadn't done, hadn't achieved. And maybe you feel, when you consider it, they had a point. Maybe you think it's not actually unreasonable what they're saying. What they were saying was something I actually should be able to do and achieve. Okay? This is your opportunity to now go out and do that. So similar to point number 1, I would suggest you post this on social media. I suggest you tell friends of friends. Let this seep back to your ex naturally. without actually having to tell them. It doesn't work if you text your ex and say, hey, I've achieved that thing you didn't think I could. That is not going to work. You've got to do your own thing for you, but you've got to make it something connected to what your ex believed you couldn't do, wouldn't do, didn't choose to do. Okay? If you can achieve something that they said you couldn't, then this is definitely going to intrigue your ex and increase that chance of them wanting to chase you and eventually reach out to you. Now, when I say chasing, I'm talking about kind of following you on social media, checking up on you, all of this type of thing, up until the point where they actually reach out. And if you achieve something that they said you couldn't, you're proving yourself to become a version 2.0, which is something that they didn't see coming. It is different to point number one, because point number one is something that they could never see coming, they never even considered or thought of. Point number three is something they've probably even told you about, maybe you were dumped for. But if you can achieve something that they said you couldn't, this is going to increase the chance of your ex feeling proud of you, intrigued about you, and one day reaching out to you. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.